This is episode number 155 of Red Podcast. Bruce Jenner is now Caitlyn Jenner. What does it have to do with your business? A lot. That's what I'm talking about.
This is the Red Podcast. How to take your idea and make a name for yourself within your industry and beyond. Spread your message. Attract a following. Rise above the noise. Here's your host, David Hooper.
Welcome to the Red Podcast, the podcast for influencers. I'm David Hooper, your host. And if you're a blogger, podcaster, speaker, marketer, nonfiction author, or entrepreneur, this is the podcast for you. What's the focus? How to take your idea, make a name for yourself, and make money. On this episode, I'll be talking about Bruce Jenner, the woman now known as Caitlyn Jenner, formerly known as Bruce Jenner is probably the best way to say that. And with that said, I realize this is a sensitive subject, so if I mix up my he's and she's, and if I refer to Bruce as Caitlyn or Caitlyn as Bruce, forgive me. It's not done intentionally. It's not done to offend anybody. Personally, I've got no issue with transgender people. I know 3 people, actually, that have been through the same process as Caitlyn Jenner. Had a high school friend that has gone through this, a college friend, as well as within the last couple of years, a next-door neighbor, so I've seen it close up, and I have no issues whatsoever. I'm not here for any kind of political or social platform, but I am here because Caitlyn Jenner, formerly known as Bruce Jenner, both of them, if you want to look at them as 2 separate people, have some great business lessons for you that I think you can learn from. Let me start with my background on Bruce Jenner. When I was a kid growing up in the 70s and the early 80s, Bruce Jenner was the man. And I don't mean that sarcastically. The guy's winning gold medals at the Olympics. He's on the box of Wheaties. One of my favorite TV shows at the time, Chips. He was actually one of the cops on Chips when Eric Estrada, also known as Punch, was having a contract dispute. So Bruce Jenner was everywhere in the 70s, and I grew up knowing him as Bruce Jenner, as an Olympian. To me, there are few people as associated with the 1970s as Bruce Jenner. And here we are, 2015, Caitlyn Jenner certainly making a name for herself, and that gets me to the first big lesson. You are who you say you are. As an influencer, whether you're a podcaster, blogger, a speaker, your identity is up to you. I've heard a lot of people talking about what they call imposter syndrome. You don't feel like you belong. Everybody feels that way. It's weird to me to be doing it without Laurel. It's very uncomfortable for me, and I've been doing radio for a long time. In college, I was doing production, had a show post-college at a commercial radio station. For the last 10 years, I've hosted a syndicated talk show, but I've always had somebody else to rely on. I've always had somebody to interview. I've always had music. I've always had call-ins. Not anymore. It's just me, and it's a little weird, even though I'm pretty comfortable behind the mic. Would you have known that if I wasn't mentioning it to you? Maybe not. You are who you say you are. Quick story about a guy. You know him as something else. His name is Ingram Berg Shavitz. He's known around the world as Bert from Burt's Bees. You've probably seen their product. Yellow packaging, red letters, got an icon of a guy with a beard. That's Bert, but that's not his name. He changed his name. He got sick of working as a commercial photographer, and he was high up there. He's working for Rolling Stones, Time Life. He just walked away from that one day, literally left the city, went out to the country, changed his name to Bert, got him some honeybees, and started selling honey on a roadside stand. That was it for him. You are who you say you are. This guy didn't know anything about bees, just started doing it. Your identity is up to you. Here's another thing that I love about the Bruce Caitlyn Jenner story. If you don't like your current direction, you can change it. Now, that can be something big, like a gender reassignment surgery. It can be something smaller. Maybe you're sick of writing books. You want to get into podcasting. Maybe you don't like podcasting. You're going to radio. Maybe you want to get on television. You can do that. If you don't like your current direction, you can always change it. If you're self-employed, if you're in charge, if you own the company, change it. Don't be dictated by the thoughts of other people. People are not going to get your plan. When I looked at Bruce Jenner in the past, probably you were feeling this same way too. The guy was getting all sorts of plastic surgery. And me, I just thought it was bad plastic surgery. Here was this really good-looking guy. Went in for a little touch-up. They do that in Los Angeles all the time. And he comes out looking like a woman. I was like, man, did somebody not tell Bruce that he looks like a woman? Or maybe he's got some kind of body dysmorphia thing, like an anorexic woman or somebody like Michael Jackson, doesn't know what he looks like, and he keeps getting this plastic surgery again and again and again and more procedures. Apparently, though, he did know what was going on, and now we're starting to see that. But until you let people know about your plan, some people aren't going to get it. Even when you let people know, some people aren't going to get it. Another funny 70s story, I always think about the Village People when I think about the 70s. It's a gay disco group, 5 guys, cowboy, cop, Native American, construction worker, biker, that kind of thing. You've heard the songs, YMCA, In the Navy, they've got several, and they were icons of the 1970s, of the disco scene. They came out with a movie called Can't Stop the Music, which actually starred Bruce Jenner. And if you look up Village People, Bruce Jenner, one search term in Google, Village People, Bruce Jenner, go to Google image search, and you'll see Bruce Jenner and how he was portrayed in this movie. Now, Village People being a gay band, I thought, well, maybe the joke's on Bruce and he doesn't know what he's getting into. But Bruce Jenner is wearing Daisy Dukes. He's wearing a cutoff shirt where you can see his stomach. It looks like something a woman from the time would wear. And he's hanging out with the Village People. I thought it was just maybe a gay thing, but apparently it's more than that. Again, back to the point, some people aren't going to get your plan. We're talking 30 years ago on this. Just now, we're finding out that Bruce Jenner, now known as Caitlyn Jenner, she's a woman. Let me give you a personal story. In my business, my next big project is a book. I'm in the process of it. It's going to be out in a couple months or so. A lot of people don't understand why I would write a book, especially like my last book when I gave it away for free. When I was selling it, when I did sell it, I would sell it for under $10 because I wanted to spread a message. I can make money a lot more easily than spending a year, let's say, at a minimum, writing a book. Certainly, I can make money easier than giving a book away or $5, $10 at a time, whatever the book royalty rate is. But I'm still doing a book. People don't get it. And they're saying, David, you really should think about some kind of high-end coaching. You really should think about a high-end seminar. Do something high-end. Bring people in $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 at a time because you can do that. You've done that in the past. Why are you concentrating on $5 or $10 products? Well, because I've got a plan. I mentioned a minute ago, and you know this if you've been listening to Red, we've changed. We went from a co-hosted show, first 150 episodes, 2 hosts, not just me. Now it is just me. Why is that? Well, that's part of a big plan, and not everybody is going to get that. Your plan as an influencer is going to emerge, and any long-term plan probably isn't going to be revealed all at once. It's in process, then you reveal it. Some people won't get it. Another thing that we can learn from Caitlyn Jenner. Also, confidence wins. Confidence wins. If you're going to do something big and bold, and you might as well go big and bold, you've got to act that way. I was at a pitch meeting a couple weeks ago or so, and these guys were trying to get venture capital, trying to get investment money for their company. And it was done in a big room, a lot of guys there, a lot of investors, people interested in investing in business. There was a microphone there, and it's a big hall. A lot of the guys that just walk up timidly to the mic. Hello? Is this thing on? Like they'd never used a mic before, like they'd never talked about their business before, like they'd never asked for money before. And you can't do that. Who are you going to give money to? Somebody who's timid like that, doesn't know how to use a mic, or somebody who's passionate and knows what he's doing, and even if he's wrong, he's going to get out there and he's going to act like it's the right thing to do. Now, I'm not saying that you should do something knowing that it's wrong, deceive people, lie to people. We're not talking about that. We're talking about going in, making the best decision for you at the time, and doing that with complete confidence. Those are the kind of guys that get the money, not the people that are timid and are waiting for everything to be perfect, and they're going to approach something like, well, if it's convenient, would you mind listening to my podcast? If it's convenient, would you mind reviewing my book? Or if it's convenient, how about give me some investment money? We could really do that. Confidence wins, and that doesn't matter whether you're doing something huge, at least personally, like Bruce, Caitlyn Jenner, or you're doing something with your business, such as releasing a book, releasing a podcast, getting listeners, getting readers. Confidence always wins. Also, when you're going up to the mic, you've got to speak your truth. I hinted at this. Sometimes we're wrong, regardless of how smart we are, regardless of the data that we have. We're not always right. We're going to fall on our faces. That's part of being an entrepreneur. But you have to speak your truth, do it with confidence, use the best judgment that you have at the time. You're not always going to be right. You're not always going to be right. But knowing that, I think that allows you to be more confident. You can imagine doing a big, bold move, whether it's changing your gender, changing your identity, changing the market that you're in. Any business decision, if you've been in business for a while, is going to be scary. Think about for Red Podcast. We had 150 episodes, changed the format. We lost some listeners. We picked up new listeners, and we trust that we're going to continue to pick up listeners. We trust that we're going to be able to help those people. But it's still scary. Any kind of decision that you make, it's scary. That's why you've got to speak your truth. You've also got to control your message. Let's look at Bruce Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner for a second. This guy's getting out in front of the media. You've seen the tabloids maybe when you're in the grocery line checking out. Bruce is transitioning to a woman. That's what they all said. But until he was ready to talk about it, he didn't say a thing. Diane Sawyer did a big interview with her. He's got this Keeping Up with the Kardashians thing. I don't know why people watch that show, but a lot of people are, and he's got a great platform. If anything, I think this Bruce Caitlyn Jenner thing is kind of balancing out the shallowness of that show. It's a huge platform. He's taking advantage of it, and he is controlling his message. You know, several years ago, I ended up in a federal court, and before I even knew that I was being sued, I had media calling me. I don't know how these guys found out. I'm not a celebrity, but regardless, they were probably tipped off. They were probably trying to scare me. It was probably part of the whole situation of trying to intimidate through cease and desist letters, trying to intimidate through filing of lawsuits. So anyway, I find myself on the receiving end of a lawsuit, and before I'd even had it, I was having media call me to ask me about it. I'm not going to say anything about that situation until I'm ready to, but you can bet when I did have all that information, I was out there on the offensive, controlling the message, and you should too. If you're an influencer, you control the media. You are the blogger, podcaster, speaker, marketer, the person getting his information out there. This is perfect for you. You control the message. Don't let other people tell you what to talk about. And that can be with interviews as well. If somebody's asking you questions that you don't want to talk about, you don't have to talk about them. Also, personal conversations, you always control your own message. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to. You know, something I really love about this Bruce Caitlyn Jenner situation, and I think it is the best example of this, is that you make a decision and you've got to stick with it. Once you go through a gender reassignment surgery, there is no turning back. You're not going to be back to where you were. You can't. Some things are destroyed. Some things are put in. Now, I guess you could say that Caitlyn Jenner could go back, should she change her mind, to living as a man. With some of the original factory equipment, that's gone. Now, you can maybe reconstruct that, reconstruct it back. People have done that. Sometimes people change their mind. But the point here is, in your business, it's good to stick with the decision. This is why, like I mentioned about controlling the conversation, you get all the information in front of you, you make the best decision possible, and then you push forward. Don't be doing things just when the wind changes without doing the research. Make the best decision you can and stick with it. This is why people fail. This is why you see authors that come out with a bang and then disappear. This is why you see podcasters that come out and they're cranking out episodes, but they don't think what it's going to take to keep doing those episodes. So they fade away, do what we call a pod fade, just disappear, because they don't think ahead of time how much work that it's going to be. The view from the outside is obviously different from the view that you have on the inside. Until you jump in, you never really know what you're getting into, but you can ask, you can research things ahead of time. You can talk to your friends and see what they're doing, shadow them, look at them, get advice, have mentors, read books. And you can change things around. You can tweak them. I've already mentioned it a couple times on this episode. Red Podcast, it's a different format than it was a couple of months ago. It was a different format a couple of years ago when we started. We tweaked it. We came up with a format. We didn't know exactly what we were getting into, but still the decision to go forward with a podcast has not changed, and that's the decision that we're sticking with. So if you want to get your message out there, if you want to be famous in your industry, make a name for yourself, make a living with your ideas, that's the decision I'm really talking about. How you do it, that is going to change a little bit, but don't change your mind every time the wind changes direction. Make the decision to move forward and then go after it, because that's how the game is won or lost. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's not timing, it's time in. So the longer you're in the game, the longer the chance. The better the better the chance you have of being successful at it. Watching Caitlyn Jenner's transition over the last couple weeks or so has been fascinating because you see that there is an audience for everything. There are people that are coming out of the woodwork that you would never think would be interested in this situation. And if you went on social media last week, still this week, you're seeing a lot of people having a conversation about this that you would have never thought would be interested in Bruce Jenner, but also would be interested in the whole transgender thing. His transition has started a lot of conversations. There's an audience for everything. Something else kind of related to Bruce Jenner that I think is a great example of what I want to talk about next is that there is an audience for everything. I mentioned Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the whole Kardashian thing. I don't get it. They don't sing. They don't dance. The book that Kim Kardashian just came out with, her autobiography, has no words in it. All it is photos of her, selfies that she's taken. That's it. That's not really an autobiography as far as I'm concerned. That's an Instagram feed. Regardless, a lot of people are buying this. There is an audience for everything. And I think that proves that whatever it is that you're doing, what you want to write a book about, what you're going to podcast about, blog about, speak about, whatever you want to market, there is an audience for that. That's the great thing about the internet. We're able to get on there and basically, just like a search engine, tell it what we want and then find people that are just like us. So no matter what you're doing, how ridiculous it seems to some people, you're going to find that audience. Related to the Caitlyn Jenner situation, one audience that you have people coming out of the closet for, and I don't mean that in a funny term, although it's kind of funny, transgender community, gay community, and I'm not putting those in the same box, but this is related to the point, is that you've got people that were isolated that might not have talked to anybody ever like them in their small towns, in their little bitty communities, and they're finding other people like them on the internet. They're realizing they're not so alone. Let's look at that from a business perspective. I've got a buddy of mine, Rob Montana, the Strapsmith, he's called. He has these high-end watch bands that are made for watches that are several thousands of dollars. The bands themselves, several $100s at a minimum. That's not the kind of thing that I would wear, but it is the kind of thing that a guy like Jay Leno wears. In fact, Jay Leno is one of Rob's clients. And Jay Leno and people like him that have these high-end timepieces on their arm, they want a specific type of band. Through the internet, they can find a guy like Rob Montana, the Strapsmith. Your business, the same way. Maybe you've got something high-end. Maybe it's something niche. Maybe it's something that's an unpopular belief, but there are a few people who believe that way. You've got it. You can reach these people. There is an audience for everything. And with that said, the flip side, no matter what you say, no matter how good it is, how righteous it is, how just it is, no matter what you say or do, somebody is going to be pissed. I gave a homeless guy a couple bucks one time. Woman commented, he's just going to buy booze with it. Well, I don't know that. I mean, that's on him. I'm thinking of him like I would like people to think about me. Give the guy a couple bucks. Hey, hope you do something positive with it. But at that point, it's up to him. I think that I'm doing a good thing. She didn't think that I was doing a good thing. And truth be told, maybe he was spending it on drugs. Look, I don't know. Let's not get into that conversation. Let's just talk about trying to help people. No matter what you do, some people are going to disagree with you. If I had to sum this whole episode up relating to Caitlyn Jenner, relating to you and your business, a couple of things. One, speak your truth. I know that a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we have people that are trying to help us. They want us to get something more stable. They want us to have a plan B. They want us to not work as much. They want us to slow down. Only you know what's right for you, though. So speak your truth, I think, is a big lesson here. And I think Caitlyn Jenner, she does a fantastic job of doing that. And as she's doing that, think about what she's doing. The cover of Vanity Fair, this is very bold, and I encourage you to be that bold as well. Don't play small. It would be very easy for her to go away, live on a little secluded island, no media. Yeah, maybe we would find her, maybe, but she could have walked out and just been forgotten and not done anything to keep her name in the papers. Instead, she used this opportunity to make a very bold statement, and that's what I'm encouraging you to do. If you're going to do something, why not be bold? Why not? Why not tell everybody about your podcast, your book, your blog? Why not? Don't wait for people to find you. Speak your truth. Be bold. I'd love to hear how you're doing that. Reach out to me on Twitter. @DavidHooper is the way to do that. Thanks so much for listening to Red Podcast. I've got some great stuff coming up for you, more commentary like this. Also, interviews with influencers that I've got access to, people that are growing their audience, spreading the message, becoming famous in their industries, and making money with their ideas. I'm going to pick their brains, show you how you can do the same thing. Stay tuned. If you like us, check us out on iTunes. You can subscribe there. Just go to redpodcast.com/iTunes. That'll take you there automatically. I'll see you on the next episode of the Red Podcast.
You've been listening to Red Podcast, Real Entrepreneur Development. Subscribe today using iTunes, Stitcher, or via RSS at redpodcast.com.